And it is time for the hot topic of the hour. Former President Trump hitting the campaign trail yesterday, holding rallies in battleground states of Michigan and Wisconsin. The 45th president highlighting the violent crime sweeping the country as a result of President Biden's open border policies, calling it, quote, Biden's border bloodbath. Watch.
I stand before you today to declare the Joe Biden's border bloodbath, and that's what it is. It's a border bloodbath, and it's destroying our country. It's a very bad thing happening. It's going to end on the day that I take office, which will be January 20th. It'll end.
With your vote, I will seal the border. I will stop the invasion. I will end the carnage, bloodshed, and killing, and we will crush the human traffickers.
And new this morning, the Wall Street Journal poll shows Trump leading Biden in 6 of the 7 swing states. That's Arizona, Georgia, Michigan, North Carolina, Nevada, and Pennsylvania. And in Wisconsin, Biden and Trump are tied in a head-to-head matchup. Krisha, your reaction?
Well, with respect to the bloodbath, Donald Trump is correct in doubling down on this term because it's tragically true. We have seen what has happened at our border, innocent lives being lost at the hands of illegal migrants, not to mention sex trafficking, drug trafficking, human trafficking in general. So at every level, this is a bloodbath. And the fact that Joe Biden also used the term, and then it was said, oh, no, just Trump is the one trying to incite violence, which doesn't even make any sense. We know the term initially, when he used it in context, was used with respect to the electric vehicles that would eliminate jobs. But here again, he's right in using it because this is exactly what we're seeing at all aspects of our border.
Yeah, and they got into it over the word bloodbath yesterday. Fox News White House correspondent Peter Doocy grilling the administration on Biden's use of the word bloodbath as Democrats slammed Trump for using it. Watch this.
So when Donald Trump is talking about a bloodbath, it is violent rhetoric. What was it when Joe Biden said in 2020, what we can't let happen is let this primary become a negative bloodbath?
You should read what he said in its context.
I'm reading a direct quote from Joe Biden.
He was talking about a group of people. What the president was talking about during the primary was not to allow it to be the words and the primary and that election to become negative. Two different things. They're not the same.
Mahek, your reaction?
Look, I'm not shocked. At this point, everything is so indicative of what Joe Biden is today, which is a hypocrite, a liar, and we're going to continue to see that. We're seeing a bloodbath in America today. It's not only in our economy, it's at our border. We're continuing to see a fentanyl, human trafficking, a crisis across our country. 13.7 million Americans are illegal immigrants are battling illegal immigration today. So we are truly at a crisis today, Maria, and the press secretary continues to lie to the American people. We know they're lying. Yeah. And it's a two-tiered system of justice, democracy, and everything else in our country.
Well, I mean, they try to play word games at him.
Yes, they do.
And yet, let's just look at the facts, and that's what Mahek is talking about. People are dying and getting murdered as a result of this wide-open border.
When a New York City police officer named Jonathan Diller can be slain while he's on duty by someone who was arrested 21 times, that's a bloodbath. When a beautiful nursing student named Laken Riley can be killed in Georgia by an illegal Venezuelan, that's a bloodbath. Yeah. When thousands of Americans die from fentanyl coming over from China, courtesy of an open border, that's a bloodbath. Yeah. I don't know what part of bloodbath KJP and the rest of the Democratic apparatus don't understand.
Yeah, and they try to use the word to use it as a sledgehammer against Trump.
Yes.
Because he first used it referring to the EV vehicle situation. Right. More of the same word games, but not getting to the actual issues that are affecting the American people.
Right. Yes, and Donald Trump, again, is correct in hammering this point home because his terminology is right, and he's focusing on the policies, and this is exactly what the Democrats are not doing. They refuse to acknowledge what is occurring at the border and the policies because they basically have no record to run on. Donald Trump has a proven record. He will affect border change day one, which Joe Biden totally undid with his executive orders. 94 and 100 days he undid Trump's policies.
That's right.
And we're completely unsafe as a result. At the hands of the Democrats, we are facing this bloodbath.
I think it it was more than 90 executive orders,
Yes.
91 executive orders, or 94,
Right.
That Joe Biden came into the Oval Office, put in place to overturn Trump's security at the border.
But Maria,
Right.
he says he needs Congress to fix the border, right? Isn't that amazing?
This is an extraordinary situation. We are watching it closely. We're just getting started this morning.